repeating her name like that?
Hey, you guys got to put yourselves on mute, please. All right. So listen, before I get started today, I got your. We're going to talk about one of the forms of precipitation. But before I start, I went through some of y'all's work yesterday, and some of y'all's work is really, really good. I appreciate you guys doing a good job on it. I'm trying not to give any bad grades, so I've been returning some of the stuff, and you guys haven't returned it back. There's 30 of you, and I doubt it's 30 of you that are on this Zoom meeting that have not done my assignment. So I'm going to give you until Friday afternoon to get it done. I think the Google Doc it's the different way of learning. You know, I'm not going to do Edpuzzle every day. I'm not going to give you multiple choice questions every day because I think some people are just guessing on them. So I figure if you can go and you can write the answers down, they're all in the video. So it shouldn't be a problem you making 100 or just missing one. You just need to go back and review the video. Okay, it's a 10-minute video. Okay, so everybody got their whiteboard ready? All right, so let's get going. I'm gonna ask you guys some questions, and remember, these questions might pop up on the test I'm gonna give you. So if I were you, I'd have your bat ears on and make sure that you pay attention, okay? Now, what is the one thing that is the engine that runs the earth that we cannot live without? Hold up your answers, boys and girls. The sun. Excellent. All right. Do you think that we get any kind of energy from the moon? Does anybody raise their hand and tell me if you think we get any energy from the moon? Does anybody think we do? Evan Todd, you think we get energy from the moon, buddy? Evan. Evan disappeared. We do not get any energy from the moon, people. So that is a reflection from the sun. Okay, name for me a place where water can run off and may never ever be seen again because it cannot see the sun. What kind of runoff would that be? Where would that runoff go to? All right, go ahead and hold the sewer. I'll take it, Haley. Actually, it's groundwater. All right, it goes underground. You can never ever see it again. Sometimes it can make itself up to the first surface of the earth, but more likely than not, it probably will not. Okay. So let's go to the next one. This will be the last whiteboard question because I want to get on with my instruction today. What is the one thing? Well, hold on. I'm sorry. Where does transpiration come from? When something is going through transpiration, where does transpiration come from? Okay? Where does transpiration come from? Trees, bushes, grasses, anything that's green that grows and is a plant or a tree is going to transpire because they soak up water to live and they release water. Okay, does everybody understand that? That's going to definitely be a question on my test. So make sure you're ready for it. Okay, now what we're going to talk about today is a strange kind of precipitation. Hail. All right. Now, why do you think that I think it's a strange kind of precipitation? I mean, there's a lot of ways to look at it. Who can raise their hand and tell me why they think it's a strange kind of precipitation? Aiden Michael, go for it, bud. You got to unmute yourself, kiddo. Aiden, you there, buddy? Logan, can you tell me? I think Aiden's having some trouble. You can't do it, okay. I'm sorry, bud. Logan, what do you think? Oh, it won't let you unmute yourself? I'm sorry. Okay, so the reason I call it a strange kind of precipitation is that out of the 5 kinds of precipitation, rain, snow, sleet, hail, and freezing rain, 3 of those only fall in the winter that are frozen. Okay, snow, sleet, and freezing rain are the only 3 that fall in the winter. Hail is the only frozen one that falls in the summer. And it's just strange. Why would something frozen fall in the summer? Kind of weird, right? Well, I'm gonna teach you why, okay? So you guys pay attention, all right? So let's go over and let's look what hail looks like. These are hailstones, and as you can see, they're all various sizes. These would be big hailstones for somewhere around here. We don't get those gigantic hailstones that I showed you, like the baseball size ones. This is typically what our hail looks like, because our thunderstorms aren't as intense as some thunderstorms where they have these massive tornadoes. Here's another one. See this one right here? That hailstone was probably out of some massive thunderstorm that produced a really terrible tornado, more than likely. And I'm gonna teach you why they come out of these massive thunderstorms. And here's a life of hail, and I'm gonna show you this when we're done, because this is kind of why I wanted to talk to you about it, is how hail grows, all right? And then we're gonna get into what kind of clouds they come out of. Now, listen, in the summertime, we have a lot of instability in the air, and instability means that things are unstable, okay? We got a lot of fronts moving through. We got some cold air moving through, and it mixes with the hot. And you know, when cold and hot air mix together, I told you those are like cat and dogs. Hot air and cold air, when they combine, problems start to happen, okay? And things start to get intense. That's why we have a lot of thunderstorms and bad weather when we change seasons, all right? Well, these right here, and this isn't a great picture, but this is a cumulonimbus cloud. And I think some of you guys have probably seen one of these. Raise your hand if you've seen these around. They look like big billowing piles of cotton. Okay, they're beautiful. They're beautiful clouds. I think they're the most beautiful cloud there is, but they're also the most dangerous cloud. All hurricanes and all tornadoes are made of these clouds, including all the thunderstorms. So while they're beautiful, they're extremely dangerous, all right? There's one right there. Here's another one. This is a really pretty one. This one's going really, really high up in the atmosphere, okay? Now the thing about these clouds is some clouds just sit and they just float and they dissipate and then they'll gather back together. But these clouds are clouds with vertical growth. And we're gonna talk about clouds probably in the next couple of weeks, because we're gonna start talking about hurricanes. These clouds go upward. They grow upward. They don't just sit in the sky. They grow up because thunderstorms are heat machines, okay? Now I know you might be saying, what's a heat machine? Well, thunderstorms suck up heat. And that's why sometimes when you're outside and you see a thunderstorm coming, it starts getting a little bit cooler outside. I know the sun's usually blocked, but generally the air kind of cools down because this thunderstorm is sucking up all the heat. And that's how this cloud grows, is because it's sucking up all your heat in your town, all right? Now, here's another one. That's a huge one. That probably came out, there was a massive tornado underneath that cloud, I would feel like, and probably even this one. You can see how it's kind of got a top to it. Y'all see that? Well, that is the top of the atmosphere. And so when a cloud gets that high in the atmosphere, what did I tell you that clouds do when they get that high? They get super duper cold. All right, and that's going to be really important when we talk about hail today. All right, so there's another one. That's the wrong picture. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start drawing. Okay, and I have a picture. Can you guys see this? Can y'all see the 2 little houses? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I thought those were trees.
They're not trees. They're little houses. I'm trying to show you guys. I can't show you how big a cumulonimbus cloud can get. I'm going to try to do it, but it's going to be tough. So y'all pay attention. So let's say that we're out in the summer and we're all at the beach, and we got some instability going on. A cold front's coming for us, and y'all don't really know what that means, but let's just say there's some cold air coming in to meet our hot air, and things are starting to get kind of violent up in the atmosphere. Well, a thunderstorm head can start to form, okay? And when these start forming, they start growing really high in the atmosphere, all right? And what they do, I just told you, when a storm starts to form, it starts to suck up all the heat around that town. So all the heat makes this cloud start going upward, all right? Now, what is inside of all clouds? All right, I want you guys to write it down on a whiteboard because I hope you know this one. What is inside of all clouds? What are clouds made of, for crying out loud? We should know that by now. What is in clouds? Hold up your whiteboard if you can. Well, dust is true, but what else? There you go, Faith. Water. Water, dust. Okay, water's the thing that you see. That's why clouds are white. They're white because they're water vapor, and they're up there and they're full of water, okay? So this is what I'm getting ready to tell you about hail. Now, when this water in this cloud is just full of water, it starts to suck up heat. Well, the heat goes up the cloud, all right? And since there's tons of rain in the cloud, what do you think this air does to the rain? It pushes it up to the top of the cloud, okay? Now, what did I tell you guys happens up in the atmosphere? What type of air is that? What is it, Logan?
Cold air.
It's cold air, right? The atmosphere starts getting thinner, the air starts getting a lot colder, and this is how hail begins to form, all right? Now, when this heat goes up, and it makes this cumulonimbus cloud grow, it pushes rain up to the top of the cloud. Okay, and when the rain gets pushed up there, guess what it does? Since it's so cold, it's gonna freeze. Okay, and when it freezes, it starts to drop back down the cloud. Okay, and it gets back down the cloud, but since this cumulonimbus cloud is not finished forming, the heat that is getting sucked up in your town pushes that one little hailstone all the way back up to the top of a cloud, okay? And then what does it do there once it's already froze once? The water freezes again around it, and the hailstone starts to grow, and it starts getting bigger and bigger. Once this one gets the second coating on it, it starts to float back down. If the thunderstorm's not done developing, the wind pushes that hailstone back up to the top of the cloud where it refreezes again. Now, if that happens 3 times, you're gonna have a hailstone that has 3 rings around it, okay? The hailstone would look like this. This would be the first freeze, would look like one little, it looked like a pea, right? It just looked like a small little seed. But when it goes back up the second time, it gets a ring around it. And if it goes up a third time, it gets another ring around it. And let me show you what I mean. Oops. All right, you guys see this right here? This is the rings of a hailstone, okay? So you can see right there in that little core, y'all see that little part? That was its first trip up the cloud. That was its first trip. Then it fell back down and it went back up and it got this second coating of frozen precipitation around it. It fell again, it went back up, and then there's the third ring. And then it fell back down to the bottom of the cloud. The heat pushed it back up, and then it got its fourth ring around it. So this hailstone went up and down the cloud 4 times. Okay, so that's how hailstones are formed. And a lot of people don't understand why it falls, but that's the reason it does, is because when this rain keeps getting pushed up into the cloud, it keeps freezing. And it's evidence of it going up into that cloud 4 times. Now, some of those giant hailstones, like that big, they make 10, 15 trips up to the top of the cloud and get frozen and keep falling back down and getting pushed back up. So it's really incredible how it's formed. And it's just a strange kind of precipitation, because when it does fall, if it hits you in the head or hits your car, it can do some damage. But guess what it's going to do once it gets in this really hot environment? It's going to melt. And when it melts, it's going to run off just like rain, and it's going to look like nothing even happened. But I've seen hail so thick when it's falling that it looks like snow is covering the ground. So it can come down quite a lot. Around here, we don't get a ton of hail. If you lived in somewhere like Oklahoma, Kansas, Nebraska, Missouri, places like that, they get lots of hail because they have a lot of thunderstorms. They're in a perfect environment where hot and cold mix, and they just get really intense thunderstorms. And they get these hailstones that are bigger than baseballs, which if they hit you in the head, it could possibly kill you. That's why you don't go out during a thunderstorm. And obviously, along with the lightning, is also very dangerous as well. Lightning will kill you in an instant. So I hope you got something out of that. Does anybody have any questions? Because I'd love to answer some questions. Noah Martin, what's your question, bud?
My question is that when they fall down and they come back up, if can they happen anywhere? Like anywhere?
Well, it's got to be a cumulonimbus cloud. Okay, so anywhere there's a thunderstorm that can be made, there's a chance for hail to be made. And remember, they're not getting pushed back up, they're getting blown back up by the heat that they start sucking up. That's what thunderstorms do. That's why they usually only happen when it's hot outside, thunderstorms, is because they suck up a lot of heat. Yeah, that's a good question. They get blown up to the top and they freeze, and then they just fall back down. So think about how high the winds would be for a hailstone that big around, the size of a baseball, to get blown back up to the top of a cloud where like a jet would fly. That's quite some wind. So they can get really, really intense. Haley, what's your question?
So does hail only come in like the summer?
Generally, yeah. Like I said, they only come out of massive thunderstorms. Now, we can have thunderstorms in the winter, but it's generally a blizzard after that. Not a lot of rain is going to fall out of a massive cumulonimbus cloud. You could possibly get some thunder and maybe some lightning in the winter, but that's a very strange occurrence. That happens, once a year maybe, if that much. Faith, what's your question, girl?
So if so if it comes down, does it have to be so big to hurt you, or can it be any size?
It can be any size. And if it hits you in the head and it's the size of a baseball and it's coming way far from up in the air and it hits you in the head, it could possibly hit you in the head so hard you could die. But generally around here, we only get tiny little pieces of hail. They call it pea hail. And the reason they do is because it looks like green peas. You guys have eaten green peas before, right? I'm sure you have. Yeah, it's about that size. Maybe a little bigger. I've seen like dime-sized hail, the size of a dime, fall around here.
Like this small?
Yeah, roughly. I see that, you see that 2-3 times a year maybe. All right, Logan, what's your question, bud? Logan, you disappeared, buddy. I saw somebody else's hand up. Who else has got a hand up? Anybody? Look, don't be bashful, people. You're getting top-notch instruction here on how hail forms. Who else has got a question? Noah, go for it, man.
I just have one more.
Sure, man.
Could the small ones still hurt you?
Yeah, they're not going to tickle when they hit you, that's for sure. They will not tickle. That's why you kind of don't want to go out during a thunderstorm. You never know when something's going to come around. And, I've gotten stuck in hail before, and it was dime-sized hail. not like it knocked a hole in me or anything, but it definitely stung when it hit. So better just to stay out of it. You know what I mean?
I've
But-
never seen one before.
Man, you never know when one's gonna pop up. You know, like I told you, we don't get intense thunderstorms that usually produce hailstones like that. But hey, man, it can happen any day, and I'm telling you, just be on the lookout for it. Yeah, Alana, Miss Massey.
Sometimes does rain clouds actually have gas in it too?
Do clouds have gas in it?
Mhm.
Is that what you asked me? Well, yeah, they've got gas in them. I mean, there's oxygen up there, and oxygen is considered a gas. Hydrogen's up there. There's plenty of gases up in the atmosphere, just like there are around us. There's tons of gases. Most of what we breathe in is nitrogen. I don't know why they say it's oxygen, but I guess oxygen just sounds better. It's shorter, but most of the air we breathe in is nitrogen. Our atmosphere is mainly nitrogen. Yeah, Blake Jedry. I like your mohawk, buddy.
Thanks. And why is liquid nitrogen so dangerous?
I don't know. I think liquid nitrogen can freeze you, but I don't know much about liquid nitrogen, buddy. I'm sorry. I know they put it in the cars to make them go faster, but that's about the extent of it. It's my Fast and Furious days of watching those movies. They put that oxide in there. That's about the only thing I know about liquid nitrogen, or I don't know. I don't even know if that's correct. I don't really know much about.
I love Fast and Furious movies.
Oh Lord, let's don't get started on that. All right.
Oh, I can't wait for 10. I can't wait for
Not Jaden. Does anybody else have a question about hail or anything about why it forms or how it forms? So do you
How
guys?
hard could it be?
It's as hard as a piece of ice, Caleb. It's hard as a piece of ice because it is a piece of ice. It's a piece of ice.
Question,
Who? Alana, you got another one?
Blake.
Blake, what you need, bud?
Are those clouds rare to see or no?
No, Blake, if you go outside on a day where they're calling for thunderstorms, you can pretty much spot them. They look like big piles of cotton, gigantic piles of cotton. And I'll give you something else. This is a really cool little fact since I got you on here. How many of you guys know why a cloud is dark? Do any of you guys know why a cloud is dark on the bottom?
But it's like getting ready to like
It's about
pour
to.
down rain.
Yeah, but there's a reason as to why they're dark. No, I'm gonna give somebody else a chance, but Alicia Bursell, go ahead, girl. Why is a cloud so dark?
I think it's dark because like all the smoke in like the air
No.
makes it like dark.
Man, I hope not. I hope that's not correct. I hope we don't have that much smoke in the air. That would be pretty scary. Aiden Michael, what do you think?
Okay.
That all the water in the clouds is getting ready to fall.
That's true, but let me show you why it's super dark when a cloud comes over. Uh-oh. Hold on one second. Let me erase this. All right. Now, this is pretty cool because I didn't just learn this, but so when you're outside and your parents say, hey, look, I can tell a storm's coming. And you look over there and the sky looks like blue, you know, kind of like a purpley blue, really intense looking storm. So when you're outside, I don't know why that thing is up there. Let me get that. All right, so let's say this is the cloud, all right? And let's say this is your house. And you see the cloud coming. Well, the reason the cloud is so dark is because the cloud has grown so large that guess what cannot get through it? Sunlight. So when the sun is still out and the cloud is out, it's got a huge shadow on it. And that's why down at the bottom, it looks so dark, is because the shadow of the cloud is making the bottom of the cloud look super dark. And that's how you can always tell if you've got a thunderstorm coming, is because the clouds are really, really dark on the bottom because they're stuck in this massive, massive shadow from the sun. That's pretty cool, right? You guys can always tell people that from now on. The reason those clouds look dark is because the cloud is really high and it's in its shadow. The sun can't get through it. So that's a pretty cool little thing to know. All right, so I'm gonna give you another Google Doc today. There's gonna be 5 questions. All of the questions can be answered by watching the video, okay? So if you guys have any questions, please email me or send me a Google message. I'll get back to you. If I return your work, make sure you try to fix it. If you guys don't fix it after a day, I'm just gonna go ahead and grade it, because I can't wait that long. There's other people that need to be graded, all right? So please try to get it done again. If I've sent it back to you, I'm giving you another chance to make 100. All right, does anybody have any more questions for me? Yeah, Haley Fisher.
If the assignment we did yesterday, if we finished it and you didn't like send it back to us, we can do the other one, right?
Yeah, you're good. Man, when I check it, I usually send you a message back. Haley, I might not have checked yours yet. I'm getting ready to check the ones from yesterday that got turned in late. So if I return it and say, hey, great job, you know, you did a great job, don't worry about it. But if I say, hey, go back and look at number 3, then you can do number 3 again and you can return it back, and then I'll grade it. Okay, now I'm just gonna send you a message. I'm not gonna return it, because I think if I return it, you can't do it again. I'm still a little bit skeptical on that right there. Alana, you got a question, honey?
I have one more question about the hill.
Well, please, man, you guys ask as many questions as you need to.
I don't know if you already answered this, but like, how big can it get?
I've seen hailstones that big, like the size of like a volleyball. Now, I don't know if they were real or not because I didn't see them in person, Alana, but people have taken pictures of them. And generally those fall out of like clouds that produce F5 tornadoes, and that's the most dangerous kind of tornado. They're huge, and they cause all kinds of destruction. They'll knock all the windows out in your car. They'll destroy your house, all kinds of stuff. So they are extremely dangerous. Extremely
During
dangerous.
the hurricane we just had, our window came out a little bit, but
Yeah, you know, hurricanes are made of the same exact cloud. They're all cumulonimbus clouds, but hurricanes are heat machines, and hail does not generally fall out of hurricanes that I've ever seen, because they're really, really hot. And you can probably notice that when a hurricane goes through, it's really, really sticky outside, and that's because hurricanes suck up heat. That's what they're Mother Nature's miracle, and they're just big heat machines. Vianney.
How do you know if you returned the assignment?
Did you do it?
Yes, but I don't know how you.
I don't think I've looked at yours yet, Vianney.
Hey, Vianney,
Let's
it'll
look 'em up.
say missing if we return it, babe.
Okay,
Just look 'em on it.
that's all I needed. Thank you.
Hey, nice background, Caleb. Got the Aurora Borealis going. I like it. All right, Faith, you're the last question.
Let's go look at it.
I forgot.
All right, good enough. One more. Anybody else?
Martin.
Alana, you raising your hand?
No.
All right, good. So look, if you guys have any more questions, I hope you guys understand where hail comes from now, because the reason I go over it is they might ask you a question about it on the EOG. I've seen 2 questions on the EOG that talked about hail. I guess because it's such a strange kind of precipitation, and I just wanted you guys to understand how it formed, because a lot of people don't understand it. All right, anybody else? All right, well look guys, I hope y'all have a good day, and if you need any help, just let me know, okay? All right, bye guys.
Great job today, everybody.
Bye. Bye.